this might be the last day to vote. So go join the book club in Fable and vote if you haven't already for which book we'll start reading mid-September. And without further ado, let's get into it. I did, of course, have to finish some summer reads in August, the last full month of summer. I read Till Summer Do Us Part by Mockingjay. This book takes place with our main character, Scotty, who is working at this job with a bunch of like finance bros, and she's having trouble fitting in because she's a divorcee, and all these finance bros are all married and have like bonding with her boss because her boss is also married, and little does she know her boss's husband is a marriage counselor. So she's like not fitting in with the culture there, and she's having a hard time, and it's bringing up negative memories since she's divorced. And so one day she like makes up that she has a husband too, and they're like, well, where's your ring? One of the finance bros is, and she's like, well, I took it off because we've been having issues. And then her boss pulls her aside and is like, my husband's a marriage counselor, like, you should go see him. I'll give you time off to go see him. So then she asks her friend who's gay if he will step in and like pretend to be her husband. And at first he's like, sure, and then he's like, oh, I can't, but my brother can do it. So then his brother, who's into girls, goes with her, and his brother is like some tech genius who sold his company that he started and has like tons of money now because of it. And so he got to retire early because of that, and now he's like bored and he likes to do improv on the side. He has to pretend, you know, that he's her husband and they're having issues, so he like really gets into it because he's into improv. And the marriage counselor ends up telling them, you know what, we have some work to do, let's go to this marriage camp. So she's like, what? And the guy's like, yeah, let's go. So then it goes from there, and them like fighting, fake fighting, to convince people that their marriage is beyond repair, because she's like, I need to get out of this lie somehow, like, hello. And also real fighting because she's like, what are you doing? Like, you're making it seem like we love each other like this. And yeah, this book was hilarious. I laughed so much, so hard during it. Like, it was so freaking funny. It was so ridiculous, the stuff they would say. Oh my gosh. And the depiction of the finance bros, I felt personally was relatable since I work in an office, and it's very much like boys club culture. So I really liked the depiction of like the finance bros and was like, ugh, feel that. And then it was just so funny, so ridiculous, like hilarious. I laughed so freaking hard, so hard. And it was like raunchy. Like, they get to the marriage camp and he checks off that their marriage is thriving in the sex atmosphere. So there's like, they get to the room and there's all this like sex toys and stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? While reading it, I definitely was like, oh my gosh, her boss is in some sort of like sex cult or something, because why is everyone at their office like going to this marriage camp and competing for sex toys? Like, I was like, this is so crazy. Like, her boss is definitely in some sort of cult. Like, it was just so ridiculous. But in the end, they got some good advice, and she ended up being able to work through feelings she had from her divorce that she'd never been able to process before with therapy. So by having these fake scenarios, she was really talking about like her real scenarios that she had lived through. So that was really sweet, and they had great chemistry together, great banter. Like, I literally cannot name the last time a book made me laugh as hard and as much as this book. Like, if you like a good unserious book, like one that will have you rolling, a rom-com that actually has the comedy, because so many books are named rom-coms and are actually like really really sad romances these days. Like, you'll find books that are marketed as rom-coms and it's just like tragedy after tragedy the whole book, and I'm like, where's the comedy? But this was like actually a rom-com, so I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars, and I'd be interested to read another Megan Quinn book. Another adult camp romance, but make it sapphic, is That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey. I got this one recently, so probably just showed it in a haul, and I read it real quickly, ate it up, and I loved this one too. It follows Garland, who is also a divorcee, so kind of similar vibes to the last book, but less rom-com and more romance and self-discovery. That one had self-discovery as well, but this one I would say was like less in the comedy, like general romance. But yeah, so Garland is a divorcee as well. She got married and divorced from this man, and when she was getting married, her sister gave her a bracelet she made to like symbolize true love and whatnot, because they kind of had a bit of a turbulent, or they kind of saw a turbulent relationship growing up. I believe their parents got divorced, and they kind of had to build their own ideas of love and whatnot, because they didn't really see it, basically. And so her sister makes her this bracelet to like represent true love and whatnot, and as she's like going to her honeymoon with her husband's like walking at a snail's pace, and she's like running because they're gonna miss their plane. And as she's like running along, she like runs into a guy, and he's like, here, wait, you dropped this, and it's her bracelet, it broke. And as she takes the bracelet back from him, she has a vision of her sitting laughing next to this girl like touching her arm or leg, and them laughing together, and across from her being this guy, the guy being the one who picked up the bracelet for her. So she's like, oh my gosh, that was so weird, but whatever. So she goes on her way. Then years later, they get divorced. She meets these twins while Uber driving them somewhere, and they tell her, hey, we have this adult summer camp and you should come. So she ends up coming with her sister who made her the bracelet, and when they're there, she recognizes the guy who gave her the bracelet in the airport. She's like, oh my gosh, I know you. And his sister is her cabin mate. So in her mind, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to marry this guy. Like, he's, you know, it's supposed to be like meant to be. He's the love of my life or whatever. Yeah, like that must be what the vision meant. Like, wow, here we are meeting. And so they start going through all the like camp challenges together. She thinks Stevie, who's the sister, is so cool right away. And they have great chemistry, but in her mind she's thinking that like, oh, this is a part of the vision. Like, the vision meant that I was gonna be with the brother, because she like doesn't think of herself as queer. And so she tells her sister and Stevie about the vision, and her sister and Stevie decide they're gonna help her get with the brother. And then along the way, of course, she realizes that she's falling for Stevie, not the brother. And yeah, I loved this. I thought it was so fun, and I just loved the camp vibes again. Like, I was so into like camp stories this month. Like, I really want to go like cabin camping again. Yeah, it was just really fun. The challenges and stuff were cool. Stevie was great. I also liked the moments between her and her sister, when there was this one moment when they were like, we are the way we are because we had to be, like when they were kids, and they're like, and look at us now, adults at summer camp. Like, that was just really sweet to me, and I really appreciated it. So yeah, I thought this was really sweet. I gave this like 4 to 4.5 stars, invited back years later by like the family who runs the camp, and she had accused one of the boys of having something to do with the girls missing. So it's kind of surprising that they like asked her back, even though the boy was never found to have had anything to do with it. But yeah, so she's back at the summer camp, and she's like kind of had a bit of some psychological stuff since then. Like she thinks she sees the missing girls sometimes, and she's a very unreliable narrator, so you're not really sure if what she's saying is like accurate or if it's just what she's thinking. You can't really tell like how stable she is throughout the book. And so yeah, it follows like 2 time periods, the what happened like the before and the what happened in the present, and it like goes back and forth between the 2. And I enjoyed the camp vibes of this one. Again, towards the end I did feel like it started to drag, and I was kind of like, okay, like let's get to it, and then it felt like there were like 2 twists like packed into like the very end, and I was like, I would have liked that to like come out sooner and there to be more there. I don't know, like it was a good twist, but I felt like it kind of took too long to get to it. So I don't know, overall I did enjoy, and I really liked the like camp setting, and I actually liked the main character as well. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I meant to grab my Kindle, but I have read another one, and it's Catch Your Death by Ravena, Guron. This was fantastic. This was an arc, actually, and I believe it comes out September 3rd, definitely first week of September, or September 2nd, definitely first week of September. But yeah, this was fantastic. It follows 3 girls who all end up being at this wealthy politician's family the night that a well-renowned famous woman dies in this mansion. So then they end up all having to give statements to the police and get questioned on the events of what happened. And yeah, it's so crazy. Like the one girl was there because she was giving a jewelry delivery, and then it was snowing so bad outside. The woman was like, oh, you have to stay now, you can't go out in this. And the other girl was there because her car broke down, and when she got there she was like, can I use the phone? And they were like, oh, the landline's not working. Then the other one, she works on the facility and her grandma lives nearby. She's there to take care of the guests who are unexpectedly there, and it's just crazy. Like there's secret passageways and people are listening in and spying and peeping, and then like the famous woman and her politician husband are like fighting and have an audience, and then she invited relatives over to expose something about the man. So then they're like all suspects, like all the relatives, because it's like who had a secret that they didn't want her to expose. And oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was like Knives Out, but like so crazy. Like it was so good. It was fantastic. I was just so sucked in. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Catch Your Death by Ravena, Guron. So good. And I read another thriller, which is Verity by colonial. I've had this one on my shelves for a while, and I wanted to read it and just never did. And I know the movie with Dakota Johnson and Anne Hathaway is coming out next year. Love Anne Hathaway. She's one of my OG girlies. But yeah, so I read this. I buddy read this with Blonde ASMR, which was fun. Again, we did a buddy read last month as well, so it was fun to do another one this month. And this is also a crazy story. It definitely gives psychological horror or psychological thriller. It follows a woman who is a writer and gets chosen to go and finish this book series So she goes to go write the books. The husband tells her, like, oh yeah, her office is a mess, like, you might as well just stay. So she ends up staying with them, and while there, she discovers a manuscript that Verity wrote about her actual life. And as she's reading through this, she just is like taken aback, because it's just all these horrors of stuff that Verity thought about her kids, and just like crazy stuff. And yeah, it goes from there. There is actually some spice in here, which I liked the spice at first. I was like, oh, that's hot. Then once I started reading through the letter, the like manuscript or whatever, then I just had the ick so bad. I was like, I cannot read a single page of this spice. Like, and knowing that that could be what the girl was thinking during it, like psychological horror, I could not. So yeah, it's definitely very psychologically creepy. And there's twists, and yeah, I just felt so icky while reading it. Like, oh my gosh. And I can't imagine like having kids and reading this. Like obviously that's not me, but I don't know. Like, I asked somebody at work who I knew read this, who has kids, like, was it hard for you to read this? Like, since you have kids, reading about like what the mother wrote about her children, like, is it hard for you? Was it hard for you to read that? And she said no. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just me. But yeah, stuff about kids, like, I really can't, you know, like, it's just so like gross and icky to me. Like, I'm just like, oh, I would give this anywhere from like a 2.5 to a 3.5. Like, because yes, it did have the creepy elements, but I also read Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. My handwriting's not the best. My handwriting's actually terrible. I wrote this one with that. This was the book club book for my work book club that I've gone to all of twice in the past year. I just don't be vibing with the books that they be picking, honestly. But this is like a spooky mystery lit fic. I wouldn't necessarily call it thriller, because it's not particularly thrilling, but it does have thrilling moments, and like, it's slow paced, but like, I really don't know how to describe this. I think on Fable it just said like emotional. Like, okay, what's the genre? I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm just gonna put it in with the thrillers. But it follows this woman who gets shipwrecked on this remote island where they take care of plant seeds that are responsible, like seed banks that are responsible for keeping vegetation alive in case of famine or drought or destruction, to where vegetation is destroyed on Earth, basically, which that's a real thing. Actually, like, seed banks actually do exist, which I was not aware of prior to reading this. But yeah, her husband worked at one of these seed banks, so she goes to visit him and ends up shipwrecked, and this family like takes her in, finds her and takes her in, and the family consists of, I think, two brothers and one daughter. The father, who's haunted by his wife, his dead wife, who died giving birth to his youngest son. And so he still like sees her and imagines her and keeps like a shrine of her things, and like believes that she's like there all the time. And he even was like feeling her in like kind of a like sensual way, even though she was gone. So I'm like imagining her in that way. But so she ends up with this family, and so it alternates between her point of view, the father's point of view, the two boys' point of views, and the daughter's point of view. I didn't end up loving it. This book has been so hyped, and I did like certain things. Like, I learned about seed banks, which I didn't know were a thing before. I learned about these penguin barrels that people like stuffed these penguins in for oil, and it's really terrible, and it's a real thing, and the barrels are still there apparently. So like, I did learn some like real things, and I had some like climate change commentary and stuff like that, which was cool. But also, like, it was really sad, and it didn't really give any like advice or like commentary of like motivation for the future. Like, it didn't give any of that, which I feel like I want from like something that's highlighting like climate change and stuff. And I also just didn't like the way some of the main characters portrayed it. The youngest boy, I couldn't stand him. I know he's a kid, but he made the worst decisions and was getting everybody in some deep shit. Like, no, I couldn't stand him. And then the girl, the woman who was like shipwrecked, like, I feel like her story was just like a really sad one, and I hate when like women's stories are just like complete trauma is like their entire character. Like, I want to see women having happy moments and whatnot too. And then the writing style changed from each point of view. So like, the one son's point of view was third person point of view, the father's point of view was first person point of view. I think the woman's point of view might have been first person, I don't know. There were like two that were third person point of view, and like two that were like first person point of view. And that was really tricky, because it kept going back and forth, and it was like confusing. I don't know if she just couldn't write in the point of view of a child, and that's why she made like them third person point of view. But I think one of the children, I believe, also had a first person point of view. So like, I didn't get why it was so like different. Like, I kind of just wanted to be like, do all third person or all first person, or do like third person and then have the letters be first person, or like something like that. But don't just have this character first person, this character third person. Like, I just didn't like the way it was formatted. I didn't feel like it flowed. And also, there would be like flashbacks, but it wouldn't say 2 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it would just straight keep going. So the next chapter would be like a different time period, and it wouldn't even say that it was a different time period. So I would be a paragraph in by the time I realized that we had switched time periods and we're going back or forward. Like, I just feel like that's really bad formatting and was really difficult to read. Like, I'm getting annoyed thinking about it. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think I would give it like a 2.75 to 3 stars. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it would make a good like boring movie though. Like, you know, those movies that are like boring but kind of hit a spot. At least for me, like the cinematography will hit, like with the ice, like Antarctica and like that. Like, I feel like that would hit. So yeah, I feel like it would be a good movie, just like a more like boring movie basically. I did finish the Hunger Games trilogy this month. I read Sunrise on the Reaping last month and loved it, and read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes a few months ago, and that one was good too. I think I gave that one like a 3.75 because I didn't enjoy it as much, and I thought the pacing was off, but it was an interesting look into a psychopathic character in Snow, you know. But so this month I was like, okay, let me do the original trilogy. So I reread, oops, that's not the right one. So I reread The Hunger Games, which is the first book. I read this back in middle school when I was like 11, and it freaked me out so bad. So at the end of it, the mutts in the book are so much creepier than they are in the movie. Like, they took out the most creepy part in the movie. Okay, because spoiler alert, the mutts have like the eyes or faces of the tributes in the book. So it's like, it wasn't just like wolf, dog, bugs like running at them, like it was like the people they just killed coming back to haunt them and go after them in mug format. So it was so much creepier in the book. So I never finished the series. Like I never read the other 2 books after that back in middle school, but I did watch the movies years later. But reading this baby again, so good. First of all, it's short, but like action-packed, like packed with action. This one ends on a really like closed note too. Like it feels like a proper like close to a story, even though it's just the beginning. This one ends in like a satisfying way, whereas like the others are more like cliffhanger. And I feel like a lot of books these days like end on a huge cliffhanger just for the effect of like ending on a cliffhanger, and it makes it really unsatisfying for when you have to like wait a year for the next book to come out. But yeah, this one is like a very like complete story in its own right. Like obviously it follows Katniss and Peeta, who are raped. Well, Katniss's sister is raped, and she volunteers for her because her sister was young. She was only like 12, like the youngest you could be to get your name put in. So she only had 1 ticket in. The odds were not high for her to get chosen at all, because each year you get older, you get like another ticket put in. And then there's like Gale, Katniss's best friend, who has tons of slips in because he agrees to get grain for slips, because they get them to put in more slips by like putting their names in more time in exchange for like grain and stuff, which of course they'll take if they're starving. So it follows Katniss, who volunteers for her sister, and Peeta, the boy, the baker's boy, who fed her bread when she was starving as a child and always had a crush on her, though she didn't know it. Them getting raped into the Hunger Games and then, you know, fighting to survive. This was great. It was great. I feel like it was a bit intense for like my 11-year-old self, obviously, but reading it now, I was like, this was fantastic. Seeing him mention this and seeing him be so messy and kind of all over the place after reading his book was just hit different. Also, this was actually different than the book. I mean, than the movie in a lot of ways. Like when they hold hands, when they go out. In the movie, it's Peeta's idea, and he's like, let's hold hands. In the book, it's Cinna's idea. He tells them to hold hands and be a united front. In the books, they're also the only ones with matching uniforms for training. Like everyone else is not matching. In the movies, they're all wearing the same uniform. In the books, Hey Mitch is there when Katniss volunteers for her sister, and he's like, I like her spunk. She's got more, what does he say, spunk or courage? He's like, she's got more spunk than all of you, or more courage than all of you. And he's like pointing at the camera when he's saying it, so like to the Capitol people basically. And yeah, there was actually a lot of image in the books that like wasn't really in the movies. And yeah, so I got to notice a lot of differences upon my reread, which was cool. And yeah, also Katniss. Katniss was fierce. also don't get to see like all the snow stuff because the books is like just from Katniss's point of view, so we don't get Snow talking with Plutarch and all that we get in the movies, because we're only in Katniss's point of view and knowing what Katniss knows. So Hunger Games I gave 4.5. Really enjoyed. And then I read Catching Fire, which I love this cover. It's so stunning. Catching Fire. This, of course, follows Katniss and Peeta getting surprised raped again for the colonial games, where they decide to take the tributes who have survived and put them back in the arena. We also see Gale a lot. Originally, Katniss tells him they should run away together, and then she makes the mistake of telling him that the rebellion is happening, and Snow's not happy because the rebellion's happening, and he's like, wait a minute, hold up, I can't leave now, the rebellion's happening. Oh yeah, I need to be a part of that, like Gale is about that. And so she's like, so then she gets raped again, and he's like, oh my gosh, we should have run away, and she's like, no, like, whatever. And yeah, they go back into the arena. We have Petey, Iris, Finnick, Joanna, like all these iconic winners. And yeah, Katniss is like thinking about killing Finnick day one, and he's like, we're allies. Like, he has this like gold thing that I think, was it Effie made it, or somebody made it to symbolize that they were like on her team. And everybody keeps like sacrificing themselves for her and Peeta, and they're like, what's up? Why is everyone sacrificing stuff for us? And lo and behold, spoiler alert, it's because Haymitch and the winners and the rebels have devised a plot to get them out of the arena and take Katniss and Peeta to the Revolution headquarters in District 13, which, spoiler alert, isn't actually gone. They believed it to be decimated, but it's not. It's still thriving as much as ever. So yeah, they want to preserve Katniss because she is their Mockingjay, and they need a symbol for the revolution. So yeah, this was really good as well. I liked seeing Katniss and Finnick together more, because in the movie, like, they took out all their moments of them like becoming friends, because at first she's ready to kill him, but then they put mud on their faces to like, or ointment or whatever it was, to like scare Peeta, and they like scare him together, and they like laugh about this, and he helps her like tie the knots. She learning how to like tie the knots she can't master. And yeah, they actually become like good friends, and we really don't see that in the movie. So I liked that. I liked seeing like Beatty and his big brains, you know. He had some time in Sunrise on the Reaping too. It was good to see him again. We also get to see Joanna, who's iconic. And yeah, there's also a lot of Peeta, a lot of Gale. Gale actually gets her family out in the end. When the Peacekeepers and the Capitol comes to destroy District 12, Gale gets out her family and a number of other people. And that's that. And they don't end up being able to rescue Peeta. They're only able to rescue Katniss and Finnick. So Peeta and the District 2 person, I think it was, get rescued by the Capitol. Rescued after Katniss like blows up the arena. Get to Mockingjay, and so Katniss is in District 13. She's traumatized. She has a concussion. She's not well for a little minute, and then when she comes to, basically they're like, we need you to be the spokesperson for the rebellion, and she's like, I don't want to. I want Peeta, da da da. And then she ends up coming around, and she's beefing a little bit with President Coin, who wants her to be the face of the revolution. President Coin is not so heroic either. She has her own agenda. So they go to fight the Capitol, and then Katniss colored because there's like a glisten to them, so he can kind of begin to differentiate what's what, but he still like kind of has the reactions. So Katniss goes on this mission to kill Snow herself, and honestly, the storyline in this one, I feel like, got a little lost in the sauce. Like, Katniss was all about, like, I need to kill President Snow. Like, I need to kill him. And I was like, I feel like you could have ended the, you know, the stalemate between the two without having to personally kill Snow yourself. Like, I don't know, and it put so many other people at risk. Like, I just felt like the plot kind of got lost in the sauce of Katniss's will in this one. Like, she wanted to do this, and so that's what she was gonna do, and no one could stop her. And I was like, I feel like we're losing the point a little bit. And then, spoiler alert, Finnick dies. That was super sad, and there was like no time spent like appreciating his dad. They're like, you know, like mourning his death. Like, we did not get that, and like maybe that was supposed to be more realistic, because when you're in it, like, you're not stopping for whoever fell. Like, I get that, but damn, like, he was done dirty. Like, I would like a minute for Finnick, you know. So yeah, I wanted a little time spent mourning him, and right after him and Annie got together, like, that made me sad. And yeah, also didn't really like the President Coin turning out to be like evil herself, because I feel like it kind of goes into this kind of like mindset some people have, like whenever a marginalized group is trying to get their freedom, like there's always people who are like, if we give them freedom, they'll like attack us the same way we attack them, and like da da da. And I feel like the storyline in this one like very much like went into that. So I did not like this one as much as that, because in it it's like, oh, District 13 was the first to rebel against the Capitol, and look at them now, like they're evil. Like, and I feel like it was kind of a little too much of that messaging of like oh, we all just want peace, but like, you know, if you give some people their freedom, like they could be even worse. So like, we want peace, but we have to go about it like the right way, and like some of these people who are really passionate about cause are actually really dangerous. Like, I feel like it just kind of like fell into that messaging, so I honestly didn't love this one nearly as much as the other two. Also, I feel like there was too much love triangle going on in this one. Like, I know people say the movies overdid it, but baby, I feel like this book overdid it. Like, one minute she's kissing Gale, then she's thinking how much she needs Peeta, then she's kissing Gale, then she needs Peeta, then she's embracing Gale, then she is brushing the hair off Peeta, then she is trying to wanting to make it work with Gale, then she's having a life with Peeta. Like, I was like, hold on, like, too much love triangle, too much love triangle. And Peeta was a sweetie, and I loved his people say you love me, real not real. Like, I loved that. Like, that was really sweet. But I feel like we did need more of them like being together before they go off and have a family. Like he was still having the reaction of like wanting to kill her and like having to hold on to the chair, but then they just go off and have a family together. Like, I just don't know how that works. So I love me some Peeta, but I just needed a little more explanation and a little more progression there, you know what I'm saying? And then when they had kids too, I know she said she didn't want to have kids specifically in the world they lived in, and it might change if they lived in a more peaceful world. So I know it's like a good thing that it was more peaceful, and like maybe she did change her mind. But also it literally says she did not want to have kids, but Peeta wanted them so bad, so she had them. Like, what? So I just don't know how I feel about that either. Yeah, she said it took 5, 10, 15 years for me to agree, but Peeta wanted them so badly. Like, what? I just can't get with it. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm happy that they were happy with them in the end, but I don't like that she like does have a lot of rage, and I feel like she did kind of need someone like Peter to balance her out. So I do love that. But also, some of y'all hate Gail way too much. I'm sorry. Petey was a whole grown man designing those bombs with Gail. Gail was a 18-year-old boy consumed with grief from losing their fathers in the mines, outrage at seeing his friends being raped and killed year after year. Like, y'all are way too hard on that boy. Okay, that is a 18-year-old boy going through grief. Petey was a grown man, and I don't see y'all in the comments hating on him. Okay. Gail saved Katniss's life how many times? Her family's life how many times? In the end, he messed up, and he messed up that. Okay, but that doesn't mean he's an evil character. So I feel like the Gail hate needs to simmer down a bit. Okay, he was not evil. He made a mistake. He was a kid. He made a rash decision. His grief and rage was preyed on. He was manipulated. Okay, that's that. Okay, let's not act like he's presidents. No. Okay, no. But yeah. And then the other thing I didn't like, I know I'm saying other things I don't like now. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not. I just didn't like the direction of this one as much compared to the other two. But like, I do still think the series is great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, also I was like annoyed. I was annoyed that like literally like the last chapter she's still thinking about Gail. Literally the last chapter, okay? Page 385 out of 390 pages, okay? Last 5 pages of the book, Katniss says, I have to remind myself that Gail's into with a fancy job, probably kissing another pair of lips. Girl, why are you thinking about Gail? You're with Peeta. If you're with Peeta, be with Peeta. Who cares if Gail's kissing somebody into? Like, he's not your man. Like, Katniss was annoying me with that. Like, I'm like, let him go, you know? So, or when she kissed him in this one, and he was like, I knew you'd do that. And she was like, why? And he was like, because I'm in pain. And the only time, like, you're into me is when I'm in pain. She was wildin'. So yeah, those are the things I did not like about this one. So I'll give this one a 3.5. Okay, still a solid rating, you know what I'm saying? So I think this one's my least favorite. But yeah, next up, let's move to a fantasy. Okay, so I had another arc, which was Girl Goddess Queen by B. Fitzgerald. I believe that this is also out like September 2nd, 3rd, 4th, something like that. So this week, this is a Hades and Persephone retelling. And this one, Persephone is the one who goes down there. Her parents are like trying to get her married off. She don't want to be married off. So she goes to Hades and invokes Xenia, which basically means he has to offer her hospitality and protection, so he doesn't want her there, but she invokes this law that he can't break, so he harbors her there and falls in love with her. She's like throwing a fit that he don't want her there and he's not super welcoming to her. She's like planting flowers in his abyss, in his realm, like without asking, like making it her home, and then mad that he's not happy she's there. This whole thing. He falls in love with her, she falls in love with him, yada yada. I personally didn't love this one. I found Persephone really annoying. I was like, why would he be happy you were there when you tricked your way in by invoking Xenia? Like, I don't know. The entitlement. Okay. I know the OG story is not like that, but in this one, not Persephone was getting annoying to me, and I felt like it was repetitive. But in the beginning, it did have some lovely quotes about like feminine rage and your choices being taken away with like the marriage contracts and stuff like that. And there was also stuff with her mother, like some mother-daughter quotes that were nice. But yeah, I didn't end up loving that one. And I finally read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandria Christou. This has been on my TBR for so long. This is a dark Little Mermaid also had the audio narration for this, and it was an excellent audio. Like, the girl did a really like creepy voice to go with the siren, and it was fantastic. Yeah, I just loved this. And then we do have my book club pick, which is, of course, Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I did finish this. This follows 3 vampires in 3 different time periods. One of them is in 1532, one of them is in 1827, and one of them is in 2019. They all were turned to vampires at one point or another. We actually see the origin story of how each of them got turned to vampires, and it has some existential questions and moments, some beautiful prose, and some, you know, moments on companionship and whatnot. They're also all lesbian, so you have that sapphic vampire moments as well. The Schwab said that this was going to be like the more chaotic, unhinged The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I loved The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think I gave it like 4.75, so I right up there with 5 stars. I didn't love this one as much. I still liked it, but I think I ended up giving this one a 3.75 out of 5. I did have some issues with it. Pacing wise, we didn't get the point of view for one of the girls still 60% in, and that's one of our main characters. I feel like that was way too late to introduce another main character, and then it was pretty much all her point of view and then a couple from one of the other main characters. The first main character that we started out with, we did not get a point of view from in the last 40% of the book, and in my opinion that was the most compelling character. She had the most compelling story in my opinion, which was Maria. She was a villain through and through. Okay, my girl was nuts, kind-hearted, was not sweet, was nuts, like moral or whatever. Like, she was a villain through and through, but I feel by far she had the most compelling storyline as far as rage and hunger goes. She was always hungry, and she always had rage, and I feel like her point of view chapters were extremely compelling. Charlotte, I thought, was just whiny, and I did not like that hoe. Okay. And Alice, I feel like Alice's chapters just dragged for me. Like, half of her point of view chapters were flashbacks of her and her childhood with her sister Caddy, and I feel like that was just completely unnecessary. Like, we had no reason to care about Caddy. I was just over that, and this is a long book, so I did not need chapters about Caddy. We could have seen Lottie introduced sooner and Maria still getting point of views later, instead of all these flashbacks to Caddy and then Charlotte getting a point of view finally at the 60% mark. Like, I just feel like the formatting was very, like, not it for this. But that being said, I did love some of the beautiful prose. Again, I think V. Schwab does a fantastic job, like, writing, like, beautiful quotes like that. Towards the end, though, I feel like I was tired with it. Like, I was like, okay, let's get to it, you know? Like, I feel like it was just a little too much in the end. But, yeah, this also very much resembled Interview with the Vampire. Like, I had just watched the show, and that definitely helped me get into the vampire mood for this. And Interview with the Vampire, of course, also has, like, the gay vampires thing. So that was a good read. Not my favorite, not up there with Vicious or The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue for me. But yeah. And then lip pick, I did listen to the audio for Blackout, which is like an anthology of stories about 13 teens all over the city who are trying to make it to the biggest block party when there's a blackout in summer. So it was a great end of summer read. I thought it was really sweet stories. Some of these authors I've read from before, like Tiffany D. Jackson, but the majority were new authors to me. And yeah, I thought they were compelling stories, and it just gave that very nostalgic feeling of when there's a blackout in the middle of summer and it's hot and you're looking at the night sky, and like it just really like gave that evocative, nostalgic feeling. So I really appreciated that. And I know there's a whiteout one too. I think it takes place in like winter, I think for like being snowed in or something. So now I want to really read that too. But yeah, this was great in my opinion. Gave it 4 stars. And I also finished Post-Colonial Love Poem by Natalie Diaz. This had some beautiful poetry from a Native author about the Native experience, different stuff having to do with that. And yeah, I really appreciated this as well. It also talked about like nature and how like water is not respected in Western society, and how water is like so important to our existence.